Yes.
Oh,
Are you ready to go?
I'm ready. Cool.
All right. And
what
welcome
I'll do
everyone.
then
Yes, go
is
ahead.
I will share my screen and hope that you can all also see me.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. So welcome everyone to today's session. We have Emily with us today. I'm really excited to have this talk because we're going to be looking at releasing self-judgment. So Emily, can you just tell us a little bit about who you are and what your line of work is and how you got into this specific field?
Yeah, absolutely. It flows through on the workshop, but my name is Emily, and I have been on a journey since I left school, almost actually, for about 12 years now. I say school, the university, and I have started off as a nutritional therapist and realized quite quickly the limitations of how I wanted to work with people, which is where I've moved more into the transformational space. So I am a transformational therapist. I'm a healer. I also work extensively with subconscious to be able to create long-lasting change, and more so now working with wellness businesses, as I believe and see the external reality as a direct reflection of what's going on in your internal world. So today I'm going to be taking you through a snippet of a journey, should I say, of how you can begin to release self-judgments. And these self-judgments, I will interchangeably call them self-judgments or blocks or whatever it is, and however you might be experiencing that for yourself. So yes, I'll flow through, if that's all right with you, Nora, and just get started.
Absolutely. Off you go.
Fabulous. Can everyone hear me all right?
I think so.
Yeah, cool. So today I am going to take you through a brief, what I call tasking your subconscious, which is where we're going to begin to light up your goals. Now, from what I've heard from Nora, is that people in her community are trying to reach health and well-being goals, are trying to make changes in their lives. And this is very much about experiencing what might be stopping you from doing that, what's getting in your way, and ultimately sabotaging that success. So the first journey we're going to do in a moment is going to be really accessing what your vision, what your desires are, and to start embodying that feeling so that we can start working through that process of releasing the judgments, releasing the blocks which are stopping you from getting there. We're also going to explore what those blocks are. And then we're going to do a final release journey at the end, which, well, hopefully if we've got time, which is going to help you release some of those journeys. So if anyone's got any mental health issues, or if you're driving a car or operating any heavy machinery, please let me know so that we can discuss maybe this isn't the best thing for you. So the objectives of today is very much to gain clarity on your self-sabotaging and limiting habits, which you might be currently embodying. Some you might be aware of, some you may not. So I always ask to come with an open mind. And the biggest motto that I ever say to anyone is, how can you see this differently? Now, these will be stopping you from reaching your health and wellness goals and relationship goals, and whatever other goals you might have. Because ultimately, if you've got a pattern in one side of things, it's usually going to be playing out in something else. Once you are clear on what these blocks are, once you're clear on these patterns, you can then begin to reprogram your subconscious mind, and the sky really does become the limit. This is where possibility comes in. And I'm not going to go too much into manifestation or anything like that today, because I want to focus on the judgments and the blocks. But when you start to clear this space, clear this energy, this is when things really can become possible. So just to meet me and introduce myself again, I am an ex-perfectionist, an ex-people pleaser, an ex-med student. I'm also a multi-certified transformational coach, spiritual therapist, clinical hypnotherapist, and that's all the boring accreditations done. But I have successfully built and scaled 3 coaching businesses in the past 10 years. And I've learned some incredibly strong lessons along the way. So as I explained initially at the beginning, I started in the wellbeing profession. I left med school because of my own health and wellbeing challenges, which then led me into nutritional therapy, which then led me into wanting to understand how the mind works more and how I can create change on a more profound level in the women I was working with, which sent me down a rabbit hole because I'm still going down that rabbit hole, and opened up a whole load of possibility. But I now work with wellness business owners to transform themselves and their businesses to create abundant success at all levels. And I'm very much about, it is not what you're doing, it's who you're being. So if you are not changing who you are and what's going on with you and up leveling yourself in that process, then whatever goals, whether it's business goals, because that's obviously what I work in as well, but health and well-being goals are going to almost be impossible to reach, because you can't reach your goals with your current beliefs. So this is where we're going to do our first activation. Goals, visions, and dreams may have previously felt out of reach, but now things get to be different. So if there's anything you take from this whole workshop, things get to be different now. So if you're all happy to, just getting yourself comfortable, I'm going to put some brain music on in the background. I'm going to go for some theta. I'm conscious of time, so I don't want to.
You have a full hour, Emily, so you're fine.
Cool. So yes, if you want to just close if you've just joined us, again, if you're driving a car or operating any heavy machinery, please do not partake in this exercise. I have to say it to cover myself.
Fine. I don't think Myrna is, but thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So yes, if you just want to close your eyes, we're going to go on. It's slightly like a self-hypnosis, I guess, but just be guided by my voice. And we're going to really begin to activate that vision, activate your desires. And I work quite spiritually, so it's going to be a slightly unique journey. And this experience you're about to go through is going to be something I want you to hold in your sight for the rest of this workshop. Keep in mind as we flow through all the rest of the information. But just feeling yourself comfortable now. If your eyes are still open, doesn't matter if they're closed. Both ways, just focus your eyes towards that center point between your eyebrows, just like that. And just feeling them flicker, pulsate a little bit. And if they're ready to, just let them close. If they're already closed, just keep them closed. Enjoying that deeper relaxation, which naturally begins to flow over your body. Now I want you to cast your mind's eye, to a beautiful light which is going to be shining somewhere around you right now. And just see that light and see it to guide you to your safe and protected space. Just feel where that is now. Brilliant. Take yourself there. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to bring that light closer to you as it begins to flow down through your crown chakra. Allow it to flow down through your crown, over your forehead, down over those beautiful eyes, just relaxing that little bit more. Brilliant. Just softening those jawbones now. Down through your throat chakra, just bringing this beautiful healing light as it begins to flow through you, relaxing you deeper and deeper. Arriving at your shoulders, just softening, feeling any tension just melting away now. Bringing this light down towards your left arm, all your little fingers and thumb. Then down towards your right arm, all of those fingers and thumb. Just feeling those arms heavy now, almost as if they've got lots of little weights just weighing them down. Now bringing this light down back towards your heart space. And allowing your muscles to just beat to their natural beat. And your breathing to be its natural rhythm as you go deeper into relaxation. Just enjoy this process, enjoy this healing process now. As your digestive system begins to feel the benefits of this light, deeply relaxing, deeply soothing as it flows through, softening, relaxing, hitting your pelvic area, just allowing this light to do whatever it needs to do for you right now, but going deeper and deeper into relaxation. Feeling this light down towards your knees, just hitting your ankles, just feeling yourself go deeply into relaxation now, allowing your nervous system to sleep, your subconscious to wake as it's guided by my voice. Brilliant. Now just look ahead in mind's eye. You're going to see 10 beautiful steps. We're going to take those steps together as we delve deep into the treasure trove of your subconscious. Let's take them together now. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 50 times deeper now. 6, deeper and deeper. 7, deeper and deeper. 8, 9, 10. Be there, be now. Feel safe, feel protected. Just feeling your body heavy, your subconscious awake, and just trusting that your subconscious knows exactly what to do. So if you just want to begin to cast your deepest desires, allow them to fill up your body now, allow them to fill up your projected image in front of you. And just take yourself to exactly what it is that you're trying to bring into your life. Exactly where you want your life to be. Maybe what you can see are the external things, the nice house, the family, the car. Just have a look around now and see what that is. Now in a moment, I want you to start taking that inwards. Going within to explore the emotions. Explore how this feels. What does this version of you, your higher self right now, what emotions are they feeling when they reach this goal? What actions do they take every day? Who do they speak to? What are their mannerisms? What boundaries has this version of you set? Just keeping in touch with that higher self now. Feeling how this feels, because this is just as real as any external reality. Noticing if anything pops up. I can't have this. Who am I to want that? Just let that go for now. This is your chance to dream big. But bring those feelings down into your body now. Allow your body to feel them. This is permission to dream. Just going to leave you there for a few more minutes as you experience these feelings, emotions, the people, the boundaries, the habits, the actions that this version of you takes. Because this version of you is just as real as where you think you are now. Just bringing those emotions to mind, feeling them in your body. Enjoying this moment for a few more seconds. Maybe if it feels right, just stepping into that vision now, stepping into it and just trying it on. Maybe you need to turn up the colors or turn up the sounds. Whatever that is for you right now, just step in and make it feel good. Brilliant. So now you know how this feels. Now you know who you have to be to have these goals, to experience this. In a moment, I'm going to count back from 5 to 0. And if you've got a journal nearby, I'm going to ask you just to write down everything you've just experienced. When I get to 0, you're also going to feel motivated, you're going to feel excited, you're going to feel ready to release what's previously stopped you, but also awake and back in the room. 5, 4, wiggling your fingers, 2, 3, 2, 1, having a big stretch and a smile. And if that feels right, just grabbing that pencil and pen, writing it all down. There we go, let's turn that off. And if anyone would like to share their experience, I'd love to know. In the chat box, or can unmute yourselves.
And as I pick people, but that was I think it's a bit tricky to try sometimes to get into that completely relaxed state, because like my mind is always going on like my next thing to do. Like I'm sitting here and I'm hearing your voice and it feels really good to be told to relax, but to actually give myself that permission, that was a bit hard.
Yeah.
But when you did the countdown, like the 10 steps countdown, and it was almost like going into this different part of myself that I keep undercover and under layers, that parts that you know, all the dreams that you have that you're like, okay, not yet, maybe later. And when you said that this already exists, that was really powerful. And so I allowed myself to sort of play with what it felt like to be in certain scenarios that I want to have, but I feel like, okay, not now, maybe later. And then when you said turn up the sound or the color, that was really powerful as well, because that made it brought it in a really weird way. It felt like it was happening now. And so being able to step into that sort of reality that we all have in us, that it's like a no-go zone, it felt good. And then when you said, you know, think about those things that you want, that, you know, you may think, oh, I can't have that now, or I'm not good enough for that, and just let that go. Just being able to sort of swipe that away and fully immerse myself into that version of me. I love that. I think it's one of the best things I've done this weekend in terms of a visualization exercise, because it allows me to step into what already is and give myself permission to sort of bring that into my current reality. And if I continue to do that, then my life would be completely different. So I really enjoyed that.
Well, yeah, this is a process. Obviously, I'll flow through it with the rest of the workshop, but a lot of the time we don't allow ourselves to dream. We don't allow it. But also when it goes to, obviously I work a lot with women in business, but when it comes to, so I might use that as an analogy, but for anyone who's listening and watching, this is more so whatever that is goal for you, what that goal is for you. But if you are not behaving like the version of you that you want to be, you're never going to reach that goal, because ultimately you're going to keep in that lower paradigm. So this is really about, and what I'm going to teach you today is really about stepping into that version, embodying that version, because that embodiment is one of the big things, buzzwords going around at the moment. But when you embody and you fully trust in yourself, fully trust in the process, you can then begin to trust yourself with the big feelings, and those big feelings, which we've all experienced trauma. And I'm going to come to that slightly in a moment. But we don't allow ourselves to experience those emotions. Ultimately, they stay stuck in our body, and they stop us, they block us. So when you ignite your vision, your desires, when you give yourself that permission, you then allow yourself to start feeling what's previously stopped you and what you need to clear. So this is all a clearing process. So I'll run to that in a minute, but I hope that kind of clarifies that and why it's such a powerful exercise as well. Does anyone else want to say anything or say anything in the comments?
Maybe somebody might jump in because they're quite chatty usually.
Pardon?
I said they're quite chatty usually, so I think, yeah, you'll get some comments soon, but that was really good.
That's
really,
all right.
really
No, that's fine. It can be quite overwhelming as well. I'm known for helping people see their lives differently. So it could be, woo. So let's flow through. So the flow of this and the experience that you have just gone through, should I say, if you've heard the whole like activating your core values and everything like that, I activate core values this way. This is how I do it. So what you've just experienced is the emotional driver for your goal, and the emotional are the values. This is how I view it. This is how I work. And the emotional values are however you just experience the emotions you were just feeling, you basically just transfer them into value. So for example, when I reach my goal, I feel empowered, I feel trusting, I feel, so my core values for this, which are interchangeable depending on my goals, my core values for what I'm trying to do through service, through purpose, is empowerment, is trust, is connection, is creativity, because that's how I want to feel. So I hope that's clear on how you can now change those for you. But very much accessing the emotions of what you want to feel helps you make the decisions for the actions, habits, and boundaries that take you closer to that feeling. This is very much like programming your inner sat nav. Now, I work 100% with energy, and I'm going to explain in a minute why I do that. But this is why your internal reality is just as important as your external reality, and just as real. You can create something in a second, and I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of that too much right now, but when you step into the beliefs, which are the energetic, which is believing it's possible. So I said at the beginning, you can't reach your current goals with your current, you can't reach your goals with your current beliefs. But knowing how you want to feel will change how you interact and experience your life. So knowing that at the end of this goal, at the end of reaching my desires or whatever, I want to feel like that, you can then take aligned action to how you want to experience life. When you tune into the wisdom within your feelings and begin to lean into trust, the blocks and the fears arise to clear. So I have a process called the energy makeover, which is cleanse, exfoliate, tone, and prime your subconscious so that you can allow everything to clear out. Because otherwise it all stays beneath the surface. So when you have done this process, you then get to the goals, which is the physical form, which is the physical business or physical health goal, life goal, whatever it is, where you want to get, where you want to be or get to. When you want what you want to achieve and what you are aiming towards, goals are tangible and specific. Now, what a lot of people do, a lot of coaches or even therapists, if they don't work with the subconscious, will take you straight from the emotional to the physical. They say, right, you want to get this, let's get you there, let's get to the goal. But ultimately, they forget about the beliefs. They forget about the energetics, which are below the surface, which come from our conditioning. Now, our conditioning is very much the first 7 years of our life, where we are meaning-making machines. We're born as open channels. If you look at it as energy, we're born with everything open, with our goals, our mission aligned, and everything we do. But naturally, through those first 7 years of life, we need to feel loved, heard, safe, and it was about survival. So we begin to close these doors to make meaning of life and to make ourselves feel safe, feel loved, feel cared for, because that's how we make meaning. And as we grow into adolescence, we then begin to validate those through our behavior, which is why we're naturally quite challenging as we become adolescents. And then we move into adulthood, and these patterns are so ingrained in our conditioning beneath the surface. 95% of our life is being ran by these patterns and this conditioning, and 5% is our conscious awareness. So this is very much about, in the energetics, it's about raising these values, these beliefs, these experiences, our internal filters, basically, to the surface, to our conscious awareness, so that we can let it go and clear. So when I talk about trauma in my eyes, and I am a therapist, so I work with both, with all of it, is when you experience something and something happens, and then you experience it in a different, and your life is experienced differently. So it could be very, very traumatic in life or death. It could be that you experienced emotion that changed the way you view life. Whatever that is for you, trauma is experienced very differently for every single person. So, but naturally with trauma, we keep it beneath the surface because we've been taught as we were younger, or between the ages of 0 to 7, that to express something might leave us feeling unsafe. To be this way might leave us unsafe. To be authentic might leave us feeling unsafe. So we begin to shut that off. So this is very much about allowing it to come to the surface so that you can begin to release it and trust yourself with those feelings. Because when it comes to reaching goals and setting visions and whatever it is, we have the external goal, which is what we want to do. We have the internal goal, which is the feeling, which again, a lot of people miss out on that part. But then with that, and between where we are and that feeling comes all of those fears, those blocks, those everything that we have suppressed for most of our lives begins to arise. This is why we don't reach our goals a lot of the time, because it gets too difficult, gets too challenging. We continue to suppress. This is about allowing that energy to move through, because there's always wisdom in your blocks. It's coming up to be cleared and let go of. But ultimately, we don't do that. We choose to suppress it and keep numbing ourselves with external, more ego ways of life. Again, let me know of any questions. I'm trying to keep this really simple so that I don't overwhelm you with too much information.
I have a question. So when you talk about trauma,
yeah,
and trusting yourself enough to deal with the feelings, if something very traumatic has happened, and again, I always say that trauma is different for everyone. If something really traumatic has happened, and you're going through the process of working through those feelings and seeing where the blocks are, and I love that you said that there's wisdom in the blocks. It's almost like it's a self-protective mechanism, right? Like, don't go there, like it's not safe. But in actuality, sometimes those blocks prevent you from living your best life. So it's I think it's fear of the unknown as well, right?
Yeah.
How do you process those emotions? Because there are things that have happened to me where, and that's true for everybody, I think, unless like you're a person who actively works through everything, continually cleanse, that I just think, that was really difficult, a really difficult time in my life. I don't necessarily want to go and do that work there now because things feel fine. But in actuality, unresolved trauma or things that are still laying beneath the surface, it affects everything. So how do you deal with those emotions? Like, what's the process with when they come to the surface? Are you just recognizing them and allowing them to be there and tapping into that knowing?
Yeah, so there's so I could actually probably do a whole day workshop.
I know.
So
It's a big one, right?
So just the first point you were saying about that it's trying to keep us safe. The subconscious runs the autonomic nervous system, which is keeping our heart rate beating. It's keeping our blood flow. It's keeping our digestive system. It's keeping us alive. And the you can't out hustle your subconscious because it's trying to keep you safe and keep you alive, which is where the conditioning from the early years between 0 to 7, where we've made sense to keep ourselves alive, until we start to reprogram that and release it from the subconscious. That is when we need these where the blocks are coming up. So absolutely that the blocks are coming to keep us safe, because I think that's what we're doing, but it's about allowing yourself to know that it's safe to release this now. You're safe, you're heard, you're safe. So when it comes to trauma, which you're totally right, trauma it's there to be released. You go through life to experience stuff, to come out with inner wisdom and understanding of what you can next do. But until you release trauma, you're going to keep hitting roadblocks and patterns, which are going to be detriment to your success or wherever you're trying to get to. So with trauma and with anything in that means, find a therapist who you trust, because this isn't by any means something I would ever recommend doing on your own, because a therapist helps you see things differently. but also they have the right skills and ways of supporting you and holding you through that process so that you know what to do and how to do it. So again, this is what I do. I know I'm giving a workshop now, but I work with the subconscious. So using clinical hypnotherapy and reprogramming techniques, it's about changing the traumatic experience, which is naturally a very low vibrational, to a higher vibrational experience through love, through forgiveness, through non-judgment and compassion. So there's specific practices, which we're going to do one at the end, which help you move through that, and basically give forgiveness to the experience, whatever that is, because it's not about forgiving what happened, it's forgiving yourself for the judgment, which is what is all about, releasing those self-judgments, because anything can happen in life and you'll hold that on as a judgment to yourself, and ultimately the only person you're harming is yourself through this. So again, you have to be ready to release that. You have to be wanting to, because a lot of people find it difficult to see through. But when you trust yourself that there is a brighter future, there's a way through that, then that's when the beauty happens and magic really does begin to happen in life.
Thank you.
Did that answer?
Yeah,
Cool.
thank you.
Brilliant. So let's just have a quick check-in. This is how I flow through a lot of the work I do, but the mindset, everything gets to be different now. And it really does. When you start changing that to, I don't have to live in the victim of my past. So very much, most people that, especially that I begin to work with, or most people that I know are living their life through their past story. And this is about accepting that you don't have to do that anymore. And things do get to be different. You can change how you live your life. You can change how you experience life by simply allowing yourself to do it and having that choice. So things are different and you are open to possibility. When you begin to change your mindset to actually what could be possible, what am I stopping, what have I previously believed wasn't possible, and then you can start experiencing what are you saying yes to. Now this is where the emotional is obviously a massive driver. It releases chemicals within the body and sometimes it feels uncontrollable, but this is where you begin to learn to trust yourself with those really big feelings, whether they're negative or positive. With this, you can now experience the possibility of how this will feel when you reach your goal, which we've just done at the beginning. You've allowed those positive emotions to really flow through you so that you can begin to experience that. Now, the key is what we just spoke about. You know that you can no longer hustle to reach your goals. When you're in hustle, when you're fighting, you know that there's something that needs to be cleared, because naturally life should flow. When you feel like you're going upstream, it's because it's out of alignment. So the first thing I recommend to anybody is to come back to alignment with self. And then when you do that, you can then start aligning the rest of the process with where you want to go. And you can't reach your current goals with your current beliefs. It's time to create a change at a profound level, which is where you go deeper beneath the surface and start changing actually the patterns that you're running your life in. Now, today, I've gone through quite a lot of this, but we are going to explore how these emotional components flow through the energetics and what limitations or blocks may be in your way. Now, remember, who you are is always reflected in your results. So do the inner work and everybody will benefit. And one of my mentors said to me, and it's something I always say to everybody else, is your transformation is not your own. As soon as you begin to change your energy, raise your vibration as such, without sounding too woo-woo, but change that, everybody else around you begins to change, because it's like a ripple effect. It's like you throw that stone in and everything else, because when it comes to perception, we perceive our life and everybody else is perceiving it differently. No one person sees things exactly the same as you. So as you begin to change, naturally people around you begin to change, and some really funky things begin to happen, which is so unexplainable. I can't even explain what I've seen happen in people's lives. Positive, by the way. So what are blocks? Now, blocks are subconscious patterns which show up as something within you which might stop you achieving, doing, or being what you want to do. Now, as I said, that there's wisdom within the blocks. So there's always wisdom within your blocks, but sometimes that's difficult to see because you get more frustrated, you get disappointed because you're not allowing yourself to get there. But ultimately, your blocks are trying to keep you safe. So it's about allowing yourself, reparenting yourself as such. And we do a lot of inner child work to feel safe, to feel that this is a safe place to go right now, to let it heal. Now, they are made up of energy, and different emotions store in different places within the body, and different emotions have a different vibration. So these blocks are made up of energy and they're going to flow through you. They're going to arise as almost chemical reactions within the body, which are going to stop you doing what you want. And this is where you need to do the clearing. Now, how do they feel? And this is your inner wisdom. This is when you feel that low self-esteem, you're not feeling good enough, nothing ever feels enough. You might overcommit to something or lots of things. You're one of these yes men. You might have sickness, helplessness, overwhelm, fears, procrastination, imposter syndrome, depression. All of them are going to feel pretty rubbish, but they're trying to keep you small. So this is about really stepping through. And I know I say this with a big smile because I do see the result of how people, when they overcome this, what their lives do, what experience they have of life. And it's so different. Now, what might they look like for you? So you might have a pattern to sabotage any financial, health, or relationship success. But again, this could be anything. And I always use the financial one as a big one because I've worked with a lot of people with money blocks as such. And one thing which I've seen a lot of the time is people, your parents, for example, this is an example of a block. Your parents might have been really successful and then they got divorced and then your life changed massively. So in your head, you're associating success and financial success with change, with divorce, with whatever it is. So ultimately you're going to avoid making that or getting to that level because you worry that you're going to end up divorced or something's going to change in your life. You're going to devalue something. And these blocks will show up in obviously different ways. It's just one example, but it's quite a tangible example to show. Another one actually is health. I will use one of my previous blocks, but my mother was very, very successful, but she then got very, very sick with ME. So in my head as a child, I grew up believing that success meant that I was going to get sick. And obviously I didn't realize that until I started playing and I'm a mother myself. And I was limiting my success because subconsciously I thought that I didn't have enough energy. I wasn't going to be well enough. I wasn't going to be a good enough mother because that's what my experience was when my mother got successful. So I hope you can begin to see where these blocks which come from and perhaps you can identify some for yourself. But maybe you have subconscious memories that you're unaware of because of how you made meaning of life when you were younger. So does anyone have any questions with that or anything they'd like to share? No. Am I going too fast? Is there anything that's overcomplicated or that you'd like simplifying?
No, I think can you hear me? You're going at the right pace and it's all really interesting. So this is cool. Good. Yeah.
No, it might be. No, I'm taking the fact there's no questions as a good thing, but just in case, I just want to make sure that I'm not. It's quite one of my learnings through business. Very interesting. Thank you. Brilliant. One of my learnings through business is having to. Obviously, I'm so up there with the information, and sometimes people aren't quite there with me. So it's about really simplifying it. So I do have to make sure that I simplify what I say.
I actually have one question with the blocks. So energy is held through emotions. So if you're not processing emotions, they're then held as dense energy in the body. How can you quickly identify where there are blocks in the body?
So it's not necessarily something you can quickly identify. Usually if you've got illness, if you've got pain, then you can start doing some investigation as to why that is, because subconscious naturally going back to fight or flight response and causing stress throughout the body, it's a filing cabinet. So if you think about all the times when you've been trying to make meaning in your life or you felt stressed, and naturally that response goes back to hunter-gatherer days, but we now open our emails and feel like that. So this begins to store within the body because it affects our immune system. I'm not going to go too much into depth, but sometimes the subconscious begins to almost override, which is when the pain and discomfort and illness begins to reside within the body. But it usually always will come from a stress response initially, which is fear, anxiety, whatever it is. And this is also where autoimmune comes from. And it's a great way. Hypnotherapy is a very powerful way to release autoimmune disease as you release the stress from the body. So, does that answer your question? Cool. But yeah, there's other ways through regression therapy and hypnotherapy where we go back to early years and start healing it. It's very clear to see where this has come from and why you're experiencing that within your body. So how to move through this? So I spoke a little bit about my energy makeover process. So I got my business model is called the alignment method, but then within that and with any release of anything, I do the energy makeover method, which is you cleanse, you exfoliate, you tone, and you prime your subpart, or you prime your subconscious. So step one is all about cleansing your past experiences, so they can be brought to the surface and into conscious awareness. So this is what I was saying at the beginning is you've got 95%, which is beneath the surface. This is very much about bringing that to your conscious awareness so that you can then have a choice, because right now you almost don't have the choice because you're not aware it's there. So how I usually do this is I get clients to write their whole life story, almost like an autobiography, and then we begin to reframe this as a more supportive way of moving forward through life. Now, once you've got that to the surface, you can then begin to exfoliate the beliefs and blocks which stop you from seeing things differently. So those beliefs and blocks which have stopped you from getting to where you want to do. So this is the exfoliation phase, which is releasing those blocks. Once you release those blocks, or you exfoliate them as such, you can then begin to tone your subparts. Now, your subparts are your inner critic, your saboteur, your inner child, all of the parts of you which might have been defragmented or sent away or hidden away and not actually processed through your life. So once you've got the exfoliation, you've cleared the blocks, you're then allowing yourself the permission to let these parts come back to you and almost tone them together as you integrate your past experiences with all you know now. And we do this through forgiveness. I'm going to give you a journal prompt to take with you after this to start going through that process yourself, which is really powerful. But again, forgiveness is where you take those lower emotions, the anger, the hurt, the discomfort, the pain, and you begin to change that into a more positive, higher vibrational emotion, which naturally raises you up. It's allowing that space for you to rise. Now, step 4 is priming, and this is all about programming and updating your inner system. So it's almost like seeing yourself as a computer software. And it's, if you think about it, when your computer needs to update, it then gets bugs, it gets viruses, and you're not doing that. And this is where you get sick and whatever happens to you, and you keep those same patterns. When you update your computer, it begins to flow, it begins to give you the experience that you're meant to be experiencing from the computer. So it's very similar to that, but it's using your energetic computer of your own template as a human being. I'm not going to go too woo-woo with that. I could go woo-woo, but is quite a simple way of seeing, actually, I'm feeling like this. And again, using the fact that wisdom within your blocks, those wisdoms of feeling that way are basically telling you that you need to do some change work. You need to do the inner work. You need to explore what's going on so that you can go to that next level. And then naturally, and it's something I see a lot with clients, is they get to that level and they release these blocks, but they're going to hit them again when they want to go again. So it's just being aware you are in control. You have trust in yourself here, so you can continue to do this and reach that level of where you want to get to. So this is where we have got time. So it's brilliant. If everyone wants to do a regression, if that's okay with you, Nora, I was going to do another hypno session. But I guess knowing all of this, what do you want to play with? Where has it been holding you back? Is there anything that anyone has identified in this past 45 minutes? That they would like to share? Is there anything that they're unsure of? Is there anything that they can commit to beginning to change and beginning to step forward, and releasing? No? Does everyone want to do a regression?
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic to try that.
Okay, cool. Yes,
Gemma says
brilliant.
yes. Thanks, Gemma.
Cool. Yes, please. Okay, cool. So a regression it's basically taking you back to an early years. So again, if there's something quite traumatic that you might be causing or might be hidden beneath the surface, just be aware this might not be the right time to do in a group environment where I can't directly hold and support you. But what we'll do is we're going to go back. Has anyone got a prominent emotion that they feel themselves being hit with at the moment? Is it self-confidence or frustration, something that they keep meeting in life? If not, I'll go for like overwhelm or something. It's quite easy.
I think that's a good one. That's a good one to go for. I think everybody could identify
doubting. Okay, so we could do maybe doubt. Self-doubt's a good one if that's happy for everyone. Cool. So what I'll do is I'm going to put some music on. Again, just be, maybe I'll go for different. More of a healing energy. There we go. Right. So I'm going to take you through a relaxation and a deepener. I'll slightly shorten the relaxation though, because we've got 15 minutes left. And then the whole idea, this is how you'll see the process. And so bring to mind, if I'm using the word doubt and you've got another word, your subconscious will interchange that. So don't worry about that. And just be guided by my voice. And then we'll do some forgiveness at the end, which is a really beautiful healing practice. And yeah, brilliant. Cool. So again, just closing your eyes or focusing them to that point beneath, between your eyebrows. Just focusing up. And as we've just done a relaxation together, you should be familiar with my voice and hopefully go into relaxation that little bit quicker. So just allowing your eyes to flicker. And close softly if they haven't already. And just be taken to that safe space with that beautiful light again. Feel yourself there. And this time, I'm going to ask you to almost envelope yourself. Envelope yourself up with this beautiful light. Just feel it relax you now. Maybe it has a different color this time. And just feel your body go heavy. Relax deeper and deeper. Just feeling the comfort of this light as your body goes deeper and deeper into relaxation. Brilliant. In a moment, just feel your body soften and relax now. And then ahead of you in your mind's eye, there's going to be 10 stepping stones that we're going to take together. 10 stepping stones deep into your subconscious. Just know that your body's deeply relaxed, and every step we take, we're going to go deeper and deeper. So let's take that first step together. Step 1, 2, 3, just notice how it feels now. 4, 5, that's 50 times deeper. 6, 7, maybe ahead you begin to see what I call the pool of consciousness. 8, 9, there you go, nearly there. 10. Be there, be now. Maybe you want to just dive straight in, or perhaps you're standing at the edge. Just know that you're deeply relaxed now, entering your subconscious, and it knows exactly what to do. In a moment, I want you to feel that feeling of self-doubt and just amplify that through your body now. Let your body feel immersed with that self-doubt, intensifying it. An intriguing solution, but just be aware that this is rising up to be released. So feel that doubt. keep intensifying that. I'm going to count from 1 to 10. And when I get to 10, your wonderful subconscious is going to reveal the first time that you ever experienced this feeling of doubt. So keep amplifying that feeling. 1, 2, 3. Just knowing your subconscious knows exactly what to do. 4, 5, 6, 7. Nearly there. Keep intensifying. 8, 9, 10. Be there. Be now. Just be where your subconscious takes you. What image, what feeling, what experience. Just see it now. What's around you? Who are you with? Is it light? Is it dark? Are you alone? Just exploring this place now, this time of your life, this experience. Just see how old you are. And now as your wiser self, your older self, what does this younger version of you need to know? What do they need to hear? Do they need to feel safe? Do they need to be told they're loved? Do they need to be told everything's going to be okay? As your wiser self now, just tell this version of you exactly what they need. Brilliant. Now I just want you to come back to that safe space. And ahead of you now, you're going to see a group of people who may have inflicted hurt or pain or discomfort on you at this time. And you're going to look at them deep in the eyes, whether it's just one of them or a group of them, and just say, I forgive you. And just feel that now. Brilliant. Now look to your left, and there's going to be a group of blank looking faces. This is going to be anybody that you've inflicted hurt upon as a result of this emotion throughout your life. And you're going to ask them to forgive you. They will obey, they will comply, as this is your higher self. Brilliant. Now I want you to look yourself deep in the eyes, deep in your eyes, and maybe taking your hands to your heart. And just tell yourself, I forgive you. Just see how that feels now. Brilliant. So now I want you to just vision yourself feeling less of this doubt, going through life, achieving what it is you want to achieve, knowing that you can do this because you've released this doubt, feeling motivated, feeling powerful, feeling confident. Because this is you. You are confident, you are motivated, you are calm, you're ready. Just be this version now. In a moment, we're going to count back from 0 to 5. And by the time I get to 5, you're going to wake up feeling motivated, calm, in control, and knowing. 1, 2, 3, wiggling your fingers and toes. 4, 5. Having a stretch and a big smile, feeling motivated, calm, and powerful. Brilliant. How was that experience for everybody? Brilliant.
I said great. Yeah. Slightly overwhelming. It's very powerful.
It's very powerful.
It's really intense if you allow yourself to go, to truly take yourself back to that first time. It's intense.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. And it's obviously, I'm doing it on a group workshop right now, so it's quite difficult to hold that space. But that's why it's just to do something quite, like, it's more to give you an experience to know that you can heal this. You can move through it, and that's the most important thing. And if anyone's taking anything from this, it's whatever you're experiencing right now, there is a way through. I got really emotional.
It is emotional, yeah, because my eyes are tearing up.
Yeah, I should have kind of said at the beginning, emotion is really powerful, so let it out, let it release it. It's about releasing and clearing it out. Brilliant.
But you know what I like about that, Emily? It's that even after having done, I have mascara, so I'm trying like not to cry because I'll be like, ah. But even after having done that, it's almost it's freeing in the sense that so Gemma worked with with self-doubt, right, which actually was sort of in line with me, which is surprising. I didn't think it was overwhelmed. I thought might have been better, but actually it is self-doubt, right, because they both sort of work quite tangibly together. And when you go back to that first instance, it's a lot of like, I find inner child work is quite, I don't know if anybody else found it, but for me it was like as a child. And when you said, okay, you know, look at who you need to forgive, etc., I was still trying to figure out, well, how do I fix this? Like, what do I tell that child that they need to hear? And sometimes it's looking at the scenario, because you sometimes feel quite powerless in certain situations as a child, and it's looking at different options. And so I feel like when you identify like for me at least, when I was able to identify different options around that particular situation, then it felt like, okay, I have options. There's another way out. And then that felt quite freeing in that, bringing it into today's experience as an adult. As a child, I felt quite powerless, but now as an adult, everything has worked out, and there always are options. So applying this sort of a technique to life in general, with whenever a feeling comes up, and taking the time to go back into where that first came up and working through the options available, I find that really good.
Yeah, it's powerful. Yeah. It's powerful. Brilliant. Wow, that's it then. I hope everyone took something from that. And as I said, my objective is always for you just to see the power that you have to move through wherever it is or whatever you want to get to. And traditional coaches may not have told you that it's actually quite easy when you know how to. And this is where the coaching industry is going. It's going into subconscious work because we get much more powerful, rapid transformations. And it's about accepting your energetics, which a lot of the times been deprived, or we've deprived ourselves from. So it's fascinating, but it is a rabbit hole. You go down.
This has been really good. Do you guys have any questions before? Thank you, Emily. Very thought-provoking and powerful. It really has made me begin to reflect upon so many personal things, and comforting. Brilliant. To know that there's support out there. Definitely. Yeah. This feels like quite like, I think a heavy session in a good way. Because those feelings are now not so intense, but it also highlights that, number one, we all have work to do. And number two, if you don't do that work, it does impact every aspect of our lives now. And we'll never be able to sort of live our best lives if we don't take care of that, of those underlying emotions. So guys, any questions for Gemma before we wrap up? No? Okay, Emma, where can we connect with you on social media?
I did just put it on there. I'll put it on here. I'll put it in the chat. Emily at Anna. So Instagram is at energetically .Emily. I don't really use Facebook, but I do have a group which is the Alignment Collective. In fact, let me send the link in there. It's probably easier. And then and then what was I saying? If anyone wants any more support, then of course That's what I'm
That's
here
your
for.
Instagram handle.
But
Yeah, that was intense, Emily. I didn't expect that from today. That was really good. I think I'm going to do some work, definitely going to do some more work around that tonight. So guys, thank you so much. I know you guys have enjoyed. I definitely have. Emily, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I know that there's so much more in you, because it just feels like there's like tons that you want to say in an hour. Is just like,
as we were talking, we know when we're just planning it, and I was like, there's just so much I could do, but I thought this is powerful, straight to the point. And obviously there's so much more that goes with it, but yeah.
I know. So guys, definitely check her stuff out, because I know, Emily, like this wasn't enough time for you at all. You probably need like a good half-day workshop to properly go through everything. But I know that
a week retreat.
Oh geez. Oh, that'd be so nice. You should so do that. Like after lockdown, you should I would so
yeah,
come.
no, I will do. I've been doing virtual retreats, but they're just not quite the same. So no, I'm definitely going to do retreats.
But you know what though, it's still better than nothing. But if guys, link with Emily, so if you do a virtual retreat, I'm definitely do it somewhere nice, to like on an island somewhere, like
somewhere far away.
Yeah, I'll be definitely there. So thank you so much.
My
Love, light, and
pleasure.
blessings to you, and we'll definitely connect again. See
Take
you
care.
guys.
Bye.
All right, bye everyone.